Hey, my name is Mike, and in this video, I'll be showing you how to configure a scheduling software for your business. So whether you are a dance studio, maybe you do car washes, maybe you have a doctor's office, a dentist office, literally any business. Like you could imagine what businesses out there are going to be using a scheduling software. In this video, I'll show you A to Z how to go from absolute beginner, never did anything like that before, all the way to being a full-blown professional, an expert using this software. And it's really quite easy to do. We're going to show you, in our opinion, the best software, the most approachable, very affordable, very user-friendly, and honestly, it should be saving your business a lot of time and a lot of money. And in addition, if you're not a business and you're watching this video, this could also be a great opportunity to create your own business, to set this up for other businesses out there. Because honestly, as a consumer, and I think a lot of people can relate to this, there are so many businesses out there that still rely on you calling them looking at their calendar, talking about different dates, try to find the best date for you, and then finally it's scheduled. And that's a barrier for a lot of people. Either one, a lot of younger demographics don't want to pick up the phone and make the call, or two, they don't have time because they're so busy, or three, maybe they're just busy during the workday. And like I had this example with my mechanic just a couple weeks ago. My car was up for inspection, and every time I got around to calling them, it was after hours. And so I wasn't able to schedule until finally a couple weeks later, I remembered to call during my lunch break. So this is an example of where scheduling would be incredibly powerful. So to get started, we're going to go to Acuity. Now, this video is completely free information. We're not charging for anything. So if you appreciate the free information at absolutely no cost to you, you can support the channel by using our link down below. It's an affiliate link. So we'll get a small commission at, like I said, no cost to you. Or if you're not comfortable with that, you can always just go to Acuity on your own. So I'm going to type in the affiliate link. It's santrelmedia.com/Acuity. Like I said, you could also copy it from the description down below, and then I'll bring you to a page that looks something like this. Now, as I said, you could be a hairdresser, you could be a masseuse, you could be an ophthalmologist, I always say that wrong. Anyway, we're going to click on try scheduling. Now, it doesn't matter which one you click on. I'm going to click on the top right, and now we can create our account. I'm going to create an account with email, type in my name, and once you click continue, it will start your Acuity trial. Now, in the beginning, this is free. If you go through our link down below, I think you get about 7 days for free. All right, so that brings us to this page right here. And in the beginning, we want to enter some basic information about our business. All right, so we're going to start off with this example of, let's just say I'm a barber shop. So I'm going to say Phoenixville, barber shop. Just like a location in a barbershop, let's just pretend that was my business right here. Now, what I really like about Acuity, first of all, it integrates really well with Squarespace. It works with many other platforms as well, and you don't need to have Squarespace, but you actually don't even need a website at all. But if you ever decide to get a website, you can set one up like very, very easily with Squarespace. We highly recommend it. And these two work so well together because Acuity is actually owned by Squarespace. So it just works well together. In addition, you can see right here, the domain that they're giving us, the URL, is really quite easy to remember. So it's our name that we wanted, .as.me. That's it. .as.me. Easy to remember. So we're going to say next, and then we can set up our first appointment. Now we can set up multiple different kinds of appointments later, but let's just say this is going to be basic men's haircut. Basic men's haircut. Let's just say it's like 45 minutes. It could be a one-on-one appointment. You could also have group appointments. That would maybe make sense if you are a yoga class, for example, or many other situations where you have multiple people at once. One-on-one is going to block off that time. When somebody books it, nobody else can book that same time. Now, I will talk about how you can get multiple at the same time for a barber, for example. Maybe you have different stylists, different barbers working for you. We can also have the price in here. So let's just say, I think a normal price for a haircut is probably around $38 or something like that in this area. Let me know if that's normal where you are. I think it varies so much around the country, but let's just say now the time, this is Eastern time. That's where I'm located, and we can be open, let's just say every day of the week except Sunday. And it looks like normal working hours is suggested, but you can always change this and just say, let's just say 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. And we can click apply to all, and that just saves us some time. So we'll say apply to all. And it saves us time from having to type that in every single one. Just a little hack you can do right there. Also, if you wanted to have like maybe lunch hour, so if you have like morning and then afternoon, you could click add row, and you can have two different start and end times within the same day. I'm going to say next. We can connect a payment method. We'll do that a little bit later. I think that's a really powerful way to accept payments online, so people just show up. Not every business needs that, so we're going to skip that for now. And that brings us into our dashboard. Quite honestly, it's a very intuitive dashboard. I'll walk you through everything on the left side. That's where really all of our tools are. But the first thing is going to be your calendar. There are ways to connect this, and I'll show you that later in the video, to your iCloud, your Apple Calendar, as well as Google Calendar and many other calendars out there. But by default, they have a calendar interface right here. So you can see all of your different appointments are going to show up in a really nice calendar view. So you can see what's going on this week. You can look at next week as well. This is by day right now. And of course, you can block off time if you wanted to say, hey, I'm going to be on vacation. Don't book any appointments during this time right here. So really pretty powerful, especially for smaller businesses that are just getting started. On the left side, we have clients. So this is where you'll see any appointments you have coming up, as well as anybody who made an appointment with you. This is going to be your client list. Could be very powerful for remarketing to these people. Maybe if you are like a car detailing shop, for example, you could send out coupons on Father's Day and say, hey, get your dad's car detailed and here's 20% off, or here's like a discount. If you do it for your car, you'll get his car for half price or something like that. And we'll talk about, again, how to make a coupon, but that's where you'll see all of your clients right here. Let's go back to scheduling. And down here, we can see invoices. Invoices, we don't really need to set that up right now. That's a new feature, really cool one. Just another way that you can get paid on here. And then reports is going to be analytics. Again, once you start using this a lot more, you'll see some insights there for like how much your average consultation is, how much, how long it takes, how much money you're making, intake forms, users, revenue, and stuff like that. All right. So by now you're probably like, okay, I get this. It's pretty cool. What about like, how do I share the link? Like, how do I get people to actually use this? Do you have to embed it in a website? How does it work? Well, right here on the left side, they had this really convenient scheduling page link. It's also over on the right side as well. You can copy the link. But let's click on the left side, scheduling page link. You could change the link name if you don't like that, or you can copy it. I'm going to click on copy. Let's go to a new tab, and I'm just going to paste it, and that'll take you to the scheduling page. Now, I don't like the layout of this. We are going to change that. There are several different layouts, but you can see just right off the bat, already somebody can go to this. They can see what the business is, what they're getting, a 45-minute haircut, basic men's haircut, and they could say, hey, what about like maybe more times? Let's check out Saturday, the 18th at 11:45 a.m. They can click on continue. They'll enter their name, their number, their email, and they complete the appointment. They get a confirmation. They'll get an email, and it's all managed very seamlessly without ever having to call you or anything like that. So let's close out of this. And let's go to customize appearance. Remember I said I didn't really like that layout right there. I prefer the calendar, the monthly layout with the times on the right side. So over on the right side, let's actually expand the preview. You can see this is what it'll look like on your page in the future. They can see a calendar view, they can skip forward, and they can say, what about June 5th? They can click on June 5th. They'll see all the times that are available on that day. The ones that are already taken, of course, will not appear. And then they can just click on that and say, select and continue. That's very easy. Like I said, similar to what we saw before, but just a cleaner layout that I personally tend to prefer. We can change the business name, business industry. So lots and lots of options here. This is, I guess, hairstyling. Is barber available? Barbershop. There we go. Say barbershop. We can have a logo. So let's choose a file. I uploaded a logo, which by the way, you can always make on Canva. We have tutorials on how to use Canva. Super easy. Also free to use, by the way. And so just a really easy, convenient way to make a logo, for example. Then scheduling instructions. If you have any additional details you want to add right here, you can have that. So you could say, please arrive 10 minutes. The weekday starts on Sunday. We have AM, PM format. It's English. We can choose the font that we like. We can choose the background as well. It's a pretty plain background, I agree. But if you wanted to change it to something funky, you can do that. It gets a little tricky there. I wouldn't really recommend changing it. I think it looks good enough as it is. And if you ever wanted to like really change the look, you can always embed it in a Squarespace website, for example, and that makes it look, again, even more professional than it is right now. So let's save changes. There we go. So we save the changes. At the top, it should say successfully saved customization. That's great. Now we can view the scheduling page in a new tab. And there we go. Look at that. There is our logo on the top. We can choose the appointment type. It's kind of laid out in a slightly different way. And there's also a login as well for returning users that might be coming back to us. So I think this already looks really good. On the bottom, it just says powered by Acuity. We can remove that if we wanted to by upgrading to a paid plan. Now, other than just basic appearance in the customize appearance tab, we can go down to scheduling page options, and you can enable or disable quite a few things here. So we could require a phone number, so we're able to call them. Like if you're a restaurant, for example, and you wanted to make sure that they are coming, maybe you want to call them and say like, hey, like we just want to confirm your appointment or your reservation for tonight. You could require a phone number. You could add other time. So that's if you don't want them to pick multiple times, we can hide that. We could show schedule another appointment button. So if we want them to schedule more than one, I don't know if that really makes sense for a barbershop, so maybe I'll get rid of that. And of course, you could change a lot of other things as well down here. So we'll say save changes. We don't need advanced CSS. That's some more code. If you ever hire somebody to do something much more advanced, they would be using that. You probably won't need that. So let's close out of that and continue down from our main dashboard right here. So we covered the overview. We talked about the client scheduling page. The next will be the business settings. And there are a lot of things here. I recommend not skipping this portion of the video. This is really quite important. So if we go to availability, of course, this is going to be kind of what we already set up. If you ever want to change that, if you say, hey, maybe my hours are expanding, maybe I have, different days that I'm not open, you can always come back here and change that. All right, and then we have rooms and resources. And this is going to be very, very important for some businesses, but not all. And this is kind of what I was saying about having different rooms. For example, maybe you are a studio, like for recording videos, maybe you have like a green room, maybe you have a podcast room, and you can book that as different resources available. A music studio is another example. You could have, 3 different rooms, maybe 5 or 6 different employees that can service those rooms. And you could just add a new resource and you could call it rooms is the example they're doing. So rooms, and maybe we have 3 rooms that are available and they could be for all different types of appointments. And we could just say create resource. Now, I'm not going to do that for the barbershop right now. And I'm going to go down to global scheduling limits. I don't really see anything that we need to change right now. Any intake forms, start time intervals, minimize gaps, stuff like that. I'm just going to go back to scheduling. That looks pretty good so far. So now we have availability. Let's go down to appointment types. Right now, we made that first appointment type, but let's just say a barbershop is a pretty good example of somebody that might have multiple different types of appointments. This can be full beard trimming, and I don't know, maybe that's like 60 minutes, and maybe the price, if it was $38 before, maybe like $50 here. We can have a picture. I recommend adding pictures. People like seeing that so they have a better idea of what they're getting. And this can be create appointment types. And now we have 2 appointment types right here. And by the way, you can have direct scheduling links for just one of them. So if you want to maybe share this on social media and just say like, hey, get the full like cut and beard trimming and just like share that link and they can schedule that accordingly. So that's how you can add some more services on here. We also have add-ons. If you want to upsell, maybe you want to, I think car detailing is a better example of this. Like I recently had my car cleaned and they upsold me. Well, I chose not to do it, but right around this point, they said like, hey, while you're scheduling, do you want to add like an engine cleaning? They'll like open the hood and like clean off your engine, make it nice and shiny. And that's something that a lot of people like to do. Or maybe you could add a coat to the bottom of your car to protect from rust and stuff like that. You can have different add-ons. And so maybe here would be a different example of instead of bundling the cut and the beard trimming, we could just say add beard trimming. Or we could say maybe like recoloring. That's an even better example. Maybe they want to add some dye to their hair, take out the gray, whatever. And additional price, maybe it's an extra like $24. Again, I really don't have a reference for this. I don't dye my hair. But let's just say additional duration, maybe it's an extra 30 minutes. And we could have this available only for the men's haircut. We could do it for both actually. And we'll say create. So now we have that cool little add-on, the nice little upsell. When somebody's scheduling, they can say like, hey, by the way, you could just add this for an extra $24, and it's just a good way to upsell and potentially make some more profit, at least drum up more business for your whatever your local business is. Now let's go back to scheduling. Let's click on back. Let's go down here. Now, before we continue on here, I want to point out some different plans. I should have mentioned this earlier, but we have view plans and upgrade now. So we can click on that and you'll see we have 3 different plans. Completely honestly, I'm surprised that the highest one is not more expensive. I think it's really quite nice. Like I see a lot of platforms out there that start off around $15. That's pretty normal, but then they go up to like $300. So this is cool that you can scale your business with this, and it never really drives up the price that much on your actual Acuity plan. So the other thing to note is that there's no limit either on your scheduling. So it's not like the cheap plan allows you to schedule like 5 appointments a day or something. Like you have unlimited scheduling as much as you need to schedule. The only differences are going to really be how many employees or team members you have. And if you go down here, you get the benefit of SMS and text reminders on the 2 more premium plans. That could be good to reduce your no-shows. I recommend maybe starting with emerging. And if you find that, maybe you're getting a lot of no-shows, you could always move to growing, and that'll automatically send out text messages to remind people like, hey, you have an appointment tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Don't forget it. Personally, I get those reminders and they like definitely prevent me from missing scheduled events and appointments. Because I don't know, like a lot of people have a busy life and it's pretty easy to just forget about appointments. Even if you get emails, email gets overloaded. Like a lot of times I don't see all my emails. So that could be really valuable there. And then the powerhouse model or version here gives you like HIPAA. So if you're doing like a doctor's office, you'll probably need that. Custom APIs. again, if you're doing something more advanced, and multiple time zones would probably be the other thing. So let's go to the top. I'm going to say emerging is probably the one that most people probably need in the very beginning, unless you have a lot of different employees. So I'm going to pay monthly. You could also do it annually. You're going to save, I think, 20%. Yeah, 20% if you do it annually. Because this is a tutorial and I'm spending my own money here for a fake business, I'm just going to go with monthly. So confirm selection, enter my payment information. All right, so now we can confirm the payment. It'll say processing, and now we have access to the full suite of tools here, and this is fully ready to go. It's not going to be a little trial with any kind of limitations. We'll say done, and you'll see the banner goes away from the bottom. Now let's continue down the left side. Some other really important things we have here. Of course, we have intake form questions. That's not going to be every business, not like a barbershop or something like that, but maybe if you are a chiropractor, a doctor's office, you can create an intake, you can create a custom form, you can have like soap notes, you can have like a lot of different stuff right there. So not a whole lot I want to talk about there, but going down to packages, gifts, and subscriptions, this is definitely more advanced. If you want to have subscriptions, maybe gift certificates or new appointment packages, that could be really great. Maybe if you are like a salon, for example, that's a really common thing for people to gift to their spouses or like different family members. And it can really be good to have like a package. Maybe you do like a couples massage would be another opportunity for a package. Maybe if you're doing golf lessons, I've seen people do like 3 golf lessons and it's slightly less expensive. Or maybe like a couples golf lesson. If you and your spouse want to go learn how to golf together, you can do that. And so like obviously the opportunities are pretty endless because there's so many different kinds of businesses that could use scheduling like this. Also, we have coupons down here. You can create new coupons just for the packages. We're going to make some other coupons a little bit later, but if you want to do them for packages, you can see them right here. And if you have subscribers, people who are doing a recurring thing, maybe it is like a monthly thing, for example, you can see that down here. Now, speaking of coupons, the way we'll actually access that is by going up to appointment types. I should have mentioned this earlier in the appointment types portion of the video. So not only do we have the types right here and we do have the add-ons, but we also have coupons down here. So we can add a new one, and this could be like first free is what they're recommending. Maybe we have like Father's Day coming, or actually Mother's Day is coming up. So I'm going to say, well, it's a barbershop. I'm going to say Father's Day. We're going to say dad 10, and this could be a discount of 10%. And each customer can use it once. It could be any appointment type, or you could say just these types. So maybe just the basic men's cut, you get 10% off. And the expiration date, let's just say that you can't use this after, I guess Father's Day is like 3rd week of June, something like that. So let's just say you can't use it after July 2nd, a little bit of margin on that. So we'll save that. And now we can use that in our marketing. We could say like, hey, maybe you want to get a haircut for your dad. I don't know, bad example here, but that's how you make a coupon. Let's go back to scheduling and let's go down to integrations. This is really powerful. One of the big reasons we like Acuity in the first place is because of these integrations. So not only are you able to integrate with QuickBooks or any other, maybe if you have a CRM that you're using, if you manage your invoices through QuickBooks, you can have all of that right here. Email marketing is incredibly powerful. Obviously, anybody who comes to your business the first time, especially if you are a car detailing shop, maybe you're a barber shop, maybe you are a nail salon, they're substantially more likely to come back, especially if you do a good job, but they might not always think of coming back. It might not be on the top of their mind. So email marketing can be an incredibly powerful way to drastically increase your business by sending out an email, a promotion, a coupon, like I just showed you how to make, and that can get people to come back to you. So maybe you have different promotions for Father's Day, for example, and you send that out through an email campaign using the email that people signed up with when they originally booked their first appointment. So setting up with any of these is really powerful. We have tutorials on MailChimp. I believe we have tutorials on some of the other ones like ConvertKit and Constant Contact as well. But MailChimp, like I personally made that tutorial, so I know for a fact we have that one. And I showed you how to do all types of stuff, like I just mentioned, the automations. Down here, we then have some analytics. So Google Analytics kind of tracks who's going to your website, who's going to this page. We have CRMs, like I said. So maybe you're using Google Contacts, Salesforce, stuff like that. Maybe just Google Sheets if you're kind of just doing the data yourself. Pretty OG there. But a lot of stuff down here, a lot of stuff you can integrate with. Zoom's a really good one, actually. I wanted to point this out, any of them, but especially Zoom, if you are doing any kind of consultations. You can book a consultation, have that set it up with Zoom. They'll include the link in there. So it just like, it's all seamless. It's all automated. You don't need to have a receptionist to do that stuff for you. Zapier's like pretty much anything else you'd ever want to do. They connect with everything basically. So really advanced automations, payment processing here. And of course we can sync with other calendars. That's what I said earlier in the video. Even though you have a calendar feature on here, it's still really powerful to sync with Google Calendar, for example, or iCloud or Outlook or whatever your natural calendar that you normally use is. you can sync with that using this so you never miss appointments. Going back to scheduling, we also have payment settings. So because I set this up to accept payments online, maybe I want to set up PayPal right here, or maybe Square, different ways that you can accept credit cards online so somebody can book and prepay. And then when they come in, they don't have to pay. You don't have to deal with that. It's already taken care of online. So we can say maybe you just collect a deposit is an option, especially more expensive things. Maybe if you're renting something out, a deposit could be a good way to do that. You could collect and save credit card details, which should reduce no-shows. Again, you could charge people if they don't come, or you can have a cancellation fee set up, or you could just say payment information is not required. They're allowed to pay in advance, but they don't have to pay in advance. But I'm going to go up here and set up, let's just say PayPal, for example. I'm going to say connect. I recommend setting up Square, but because this is just a little example right here, I'm just going to do PayPal for now. And now that I have PayPal set up with this, I'm going to say collect deposits or full payment. We're going to say full payment. Clients can tip when they pay in full. Maybe not. You can always choose that. So you can toggle that on or off. And I'm going to say save. And now that's been saved. So now we have our payments set up. Like I said, I really recommend setting up probably all three, or at least two of them. At least you want to have PayPal and either Square or Stripe, just so people are able to pay online. And PayPal is convenient in case they don't have their credit card with them. Then scrolling down to notifications, we have client SMS, client email, and booking alerts. So if you go to client email, this is going to be a little bit more advanced. You'll have an initial confirmation email, and you can see for all of these, you are getting that same confirmation. You could say maybe if we had another type of appointment that we didn't want to have a confirmation for, I can't think of an example where you wouldn't want that, but maybe if you had one that you didn't need that, you could just click and drag that down here and say inactive. So we'll click and drag that down to inactive. And now anyone who gets a full cut and beard trimming will not get a confirmation email. Now, like I said, I wouldn't recommend that, but if you find any examples, that's going to be how you manage that. So for anything that does get a confirmation email, you'll see on the right side, this is what it's going to look like. You have the subject. Now, don't really change any of this stuff because that's going to say new appointment, basic men's haircut, first name, last name. So that's going to be their name, and it's going to be when it's happening. So on the day, on the time, and that's all in the calendar. So right there, you can see the example right here. Going down, we can add different buttons on here. We can add some different images if you wanted to customize any of this, but I honestly think Acuity does a good job of making this pretty bulletproof. It doesn't really matter what this looks like. The whole point is to have something that works and, make sure that no-shows are at a minimum. We can also have reminders down here. So if we check out reminders, we have 24 hours before is the first email that they're going to get. We can add an extra reminder as well if we wanted 48 hours before, or maybe let's just say we wanted 72 hours, maybe 3 days in advance. You remind them, and then you send another one 24 hours in advance. And down here, you can change what this is going to say, how it's going to look. We're just going to say save settings. And now we have 2 reminders ready to go, plus obviously the confirmation email. Cancellation, the option for people to cancel. This is what it's going to tell them once they do cancel. This would be a good way to maybe upsell. Maybe you want to add some extra little links down in here and just tell them like, hey, sorry you canceled. If you want to rebook anything, here's the link to our scheduling page. So maybe like right here, we could just enter like here is the link, and then I'll just paste that .com, whatever, and that's where you'd put that down there. I think that could be a good way to kind of hopefully recover some potentially either accidentally canceled or they actually just meant to reschedule, but they canceled instead, just kind of recovering some possible appointments there. But speaking of rescheduling, there is an option just for rescheduling right here. If they reschedule, this is going to show them what the time is for the new one. And of course, it allows them to change or cancel it. That's going to be how they're doing this in the first place. And they can add it to their calendars as well. I think that's really quite convenient. Follow-ups as well. So not everything is going to need a follow-up. Barber wouldn't make sense, but maybe if you are like a doctor or maybe a mechanic, you might want to follow up and say like, hey, we just want to make sure everything's working, and you can send a follow-up email as well, or just thank them. Just say, hey, thanks for using our business. That's a really cool thing to do. An email for a package or a gift certificate order by default looks like this. Again, you can change that, and appointment receipts, which is a pretty new thing that they didn't have before. So I'm happy to see that if you want to have that, just, in case it's like a business related thing and people need to save the receipts. Just kind of saves you some effort here as well by sending the receipt to them. Going back to scheduling, I'm not really going to go through SMS. That's more or less going to be the same thing. And because I got the most basic plan, it does not have this feature. You can always upgrade to get SMS reminders. And like I said, that could really drastically reduce no-shows depending on your kind of business. Then lastly, we have our booking alerts down here. So send appointment notifications, I have that enabled. Summary emails also enabled. That's going to be more for my end. And we can have a weekly summary as well. I think that's all really quite convenient. Now, if we just click on Acuity scheduling on the top, this brings us back to our dashboard, and we more or less have everything pretty much ready to go. The last thing I want to note is on the top left, this little menu icon, the hamburger icon there. If we click on that, you'll see that's actually the Squarespace logo. As I mentioned before, you also see Squarespace up there. Acuity is owned by Squarespace. And so if you ever decide that you want to make a website, I have several tutorials, actually quite a few very in-depth tutorials on how to make a website using Squarespace. And it integrates incredibly well. Everything's really easy to set up with this. But, you know, as it is right now, even without having a Squarespace website, if we copy this link, go to a new tab, and we now have a scheduling thing right here. So people can choose like, hey, do they have a coupon? Maybe they want to get like a full beard and trimming. We're going to say right here, and they can choose the date. They can say, hey, maybe it's the 22nd at 9:45 a.m. First name, last name, email. They can pay now with PayPal. Maybe you could say they don't have to in those settings earlier, but that's how you do that. That is Acuity. I wish you all the best of luck with this. I'm excited to use this on some of your local business stores. And if you have any questions, please leave a comment below. Thanks for watching. I'm Michael Bryan with Santrel Media, and I'll see you in the next video.